Mickey Finn, Part 14. While the police were interviewing Lucy and Molly, a warrant came through to search two properties, a residential address in Cwmbran and a nightclub in the centre of Cardiff. The searches didn't take long, but police left clutching evidence bags containing pills, computer equipment, video cameras and several pairs of women's knickers. In other words, a right little treasure trove of evidence that meant Mickey and Matt were heading for a long stretch of jail time. The problem was, they didn't find either of the two scumbags. But the detectives involved thought that would only be a matter of time. Carla felt weird. For the first time that week, she didn't have a coffee date with Lucy. It sounded strange, but she'd miss her. They'd become friends. She knew she'd betrayed her, but it was for the best. She decided to head into town. She tried to lose herself in the shops and then decided she'd head to Starbucks anyway. She'd missed Lucy, but she couldn't live without the coffee hit. There was rain in the air, that misty rain that Cardiff was famous for. She threw down a cigarette butt, stamped on it and went into the dry cafe and ordered a skinny latte. She tried to play Candy Crush, but she couldn't concentrate, possibly because she was struggling with the level. She shut her eyes and tried to make sense of it all. What kind of world were they living in that men watched each other raping helpless women? What kind of men were they? She sighed heavily, and Prince Charming kissed the sleeping princess, and they all lived happily ever after. But they didn't, did they? They didn't live happily ever after. Not even her perfect sister. Could she really say she was happy? Carla wondered how many times she'd been asked why she wasn't married, why she didn't have kids. But no one asked married people why they got married, why they had kids. But were the married ones any happier than the single ones? Ugh, her brain was back on those old chestnuts. It must mean that she thought the whole pinhead scenario was coming to an end, if her brain could start thinking about the humdrum problems that usually accompanied her coffee. She yawned. She was tired. It was time to get home, get some food, have a nice bath and a glass of wine. She got off the bus and headed up her street. The rain was still hanging in the air, making her hair stick to her head. She wished she brought a brolly. She heard steps behind her and quickened her pace. It was probably harmless, but she was still a bit freaked out from seeing Pinprick earlier. Slut! Did she hear that, or was she imagining things? Rich! She wasn't imagining it. Someone was calling her names. Lesbo! She quickened her step, so nearly running, but careful not to slip on the wet pavement. The voice was louder, the footfalls closer. Carla could feel her heart beating. She could hear her panting breath. She had to give up smoking. She daren't turn around, so she couldn't see who was behind her, but it must be Pinprick or his brother. She was defenceless, helpless, doomed. You fucking bastard! The voice had changed from male to female. The words were accompanied by heavy thuds. Carla turned around to see a tall woman whacking a short, weaselly man with an umbrella. Carla ran back towards the scuffle. Pinprick was cowering on the street as the blows rained down. Lucy was putting more and more force into each thwack, and each time she hit the slime ball, she yelled another obscenity. Carla had never heard so many synonyms for sleazebag. A blue light flashed down the street. Carla decided enough was enough and went to pull Lucy away from her target. It's okay. She pulled her off Pinprick and hugged her, tears falling down both women's faces. The police car screeched to a halt. Two policemen jumped out. She was trying to kill me! The lowlife yelled. One policeman told him to stand up and then cuffed him, read him his rights and unceremoniously dumped him in the squad car. The other copper approached the women. I'd better take you two in, just in case, just to check out what was going on here, he said almost apologetically. A second car will be here in a mo. And with that, another blue light appeared. I was coming to apologise, Lucy told Carla outside the cop shop while they were waiting for the taxi. I overreacted. You were right. But then I saw him, heard him yelling at you. I didn't even know it was him at first. I just snapped. Then, when I recognised the little tosspot and saw he recognised me, she mimed hitting him. Wow, that was cathartic. They laughed, and Carla got the feeling her friend was on the first steps to recovery.